Thank you very much. And welcome to Cats and Dogs here on Press TV with me, Len Topic. In the absence of our favourite great comedian politician, so missed on the international arena, the burden of inspiring political satirists has now fallen on the mutated version of Donald Trump. Yes, Boris the Confessor Johnson.
Your mattress will monitor your nightmares, your fridge will beep for more cheese, your front door will sweep wide the moment you approach like some silent butler. Are we doomed?
The long arm of fate has put Boris and me in the wrong places. He should have been a stand-up comedian and I should have been the British Prime Minister. In both cases, who's laughing now? Anyway, many film critics are of the opinion that the character Harry in Dumb and Dumber has been inspired by Boris Johnson. But is inspired the right word?
Here, got him right here, right here.
Thank you.
Sure. You know, I'm heading up to Aspen myself. Maybe we could, meet up, have some hot chocolate or something.
Sure, why not? You seem harmless. I'm gonna give you my number. Let me find him.
Great.
Let's see. Oh, I have one in here. So,
Look, why don't you just tell it to me? I got a really good memory.
well, the number's 555-905. Wait a minute, that's my old number. That is so weird how your mind just goes blank.
For God's sake, just give me the damn number!
Okay, look, you gonna get pushy? Forget about it.
Sleepy Joe Biden seems to believe Johnson is Trump's alter ego. And it does seem that fact is following fiction in some transatlantic special relationship. Incidentally, some say Joe himself resembles a soldier in The Army of the Dead in Game of Thrones, but I digress. In fact, there are some spooky coincidences going on here. Both Trump and Johnson were born in New York, and both have shown an ability to manage intensely sensitive diplomatic relations with women. Both have demonstrated a great sense of humour when making political decisions. And both have fallen out with one or two people, like the whole of the European Union. Actually, they've got that in common with the rest of the world. Oh, and Boisterous Boris and Desperate Don both have autographs which capture all that's best in art, culture and sophistication. But one thing is very different between Trump and Johnson. The former US president never made a confession, no matter what. When he tested positive for COVID-19, Trump never confessed it was his own fault. By contrast, the British Prime Minister has experienced a transformation since he had that virus. And at a recent school visit, the Prime Minister confessed he quit journalism because he felt guilty about abusing or attacking people. So he went into politics instead? And as for abusing and attacking people, he did this. He also said he wanted to put himself in people's shoes. So he's done things he feels reflects the general public, like putting on face masks the wrong way round, forgetting about social distancing, testing positive for COVID-19 and getting hospitalised. Except I don't think most of the public have done the last three of those. But to misquote a famous song, 1 out of 4 ain't bad. Now he's got a plan to lift lockdown. Despite warnings about the Big Bang reopening, he's just reopened schools to help students' development and well-being. So I'm not quite sure if the reading lessons at school will include the words on his own poster. I suppose the stay-at-home bit works if your parents are teachers or you live in a school. Johnson seems happy with his plan to manage the end of the pandemic in the UK. So the Prime Minister's worrying about problems outside the UK now. For example, he's worried about oil wells in Iraq and the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen. Boris would probably confess to such concerns if he got a UK variant of COVID-19. Did you know Boris Johnson once made up a story for the Times newspaper about a palace belonging to Edward II of England, in which he referred, wrongly, to an Oxford professor, which of course cost him his career at the time, and at the Times. He confessed to it in an interview, saying, "It was awful. I remember a deep, deep sense of shame and guilt, just not knowing how to sort it out." In fact, Boris was fired at the time by the Times for making up this quote. And after that, the best newspaper job he could get was writing for the Daily Telegraph, apparently for £275,000 a year. How did he feel about working at the Telegraph? He might have said, "It was awful. I remember a deep, deep sense of shame and guilt and not knowing how to sort it out." But he hasn't yet confessed to any of that. Not yet. Johnson's imaginative prowess might have roots in his high intake of cannabis when he was a university student. But did it have any long-term effects?
And the urban environment is as antiseptic as a Zurich pharmacy. A future Alexa will pretend to take orders, but this Alexa will be watching you, clucking her tongue and stamping her foot.
Can anyone act like that without the help of marijuana? On the eve of the G7 summit, Johnson's office wished for a fairer and greener world. Was this a sneaky reference to the green grass of home, I wonder? Johnson hasn't yet had time to confess to an apparent insatiable appetite to sell arms to the Saudi kingdom. Despite his good imagination, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom apparently failed to imagine the consequences of arms sales on Yemeni people. No surprise then that Boris Johnson told the Daily Mail his favourite movie was The Godfather for the multiple retribution killings. Maybe he should add for a few dollars more as the inspiration for selling arms to the Saudis. Eyes wide shut for unveiling the plan to lift lockdown, and hangover for self-explanatory reasons. So much for Boris's favourite films. Now exclusively here on Cats and Dogs, we can share the world premiere of a film about a conversation between Johnson and Macron from France, which is unlikely to be the French president's favourite love story. Now it's time to see who's good, who's bad, and who's ugly this week. The good is Pope Francis, the head of the Roman Catholic Church. He made a trip to Iraq, inviting followers of all religions and ethnic groups to unite. Unlike many Christian politicians who have brought nothing but war and sectarian conflicts to the Iraqi nation, this Christian leader's trip is motivated by something other than oil and money. this common sense approach pretty much guarantees that he'll not be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. The bad this week is political advisor Dennis Ross, who used to laud the Saudi Crown Prince when Donald Trump was in office. Now Joe Biden is seemingly at odds with Mohammed bin Salman. Ross believes the prince is not the good guy he used to be. Ross the chameleon is the same man who supported George W. Bush when the warmongering president invaded Iraq, but later turned against him. Dennis has been an advisor to Hillary Clinton and an aide to Barack Obama. He also encouraged Trump to further strengthen relations with the Saudis. The only thing he hasn't done is condemn hypocrisy, which he can do at the same time he shows his support for irony. The ugly this week is the Israeli regime's defense minister, Benjamin Gantz. Some say defense minister in Israel is just a polite way of saying minister for war. And here's the evidence. Gantz recently said Tel Aviv is updating its military plans for potential strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. The Israeli regime is not a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and apparently possesses loads of nuclear warheads. Minister for Peace or Minister for? I hate my neighbours to pieces. You decide. That's it for this week. Join me again to find out how Boris Johnson is doing in his homemade confessional, if his lockdown shutdown has led to mass-scale meltdown, and how Trump's re-election campaign is going. Hurry back, Don. The world might not miss you, but I do. This is Press TV. I'm Len Potopic, and that was Cats and Dogs.